Hello again. Would you like to have more control over your emotions? I'm Pam Wellesby from Fast Forward International, bringing you our third Thrive, Not Just Survive mini workshops. We're helping you to create your own toolbox of different techniques that are helping you to cope in this current situation as well as for your longer term future. So today I'm going to be explaining this process to you to help you to understand what's happening with your emotions, how to increase your awareness of that, and therefore be able to manage your emotions better. So let's start with a quick overview to give you an insight of what's happening here. So, in this process, the first thing that happens is there is an event, something that happens. For example, talking to a friend who's really enjoying the situation they're in right now and making the best of it. Or hearing some bad news from the television, which is telling us more about the problems, the deaths, the suffering that people are experiencing right now. So that event, whatever it is, good or bad, goes first to our emotional brain, which is at the back of our brain here. The emotional brain decides quickly, and in fact unconsciously, whether that is something good for us or not good for us. Meaning, is it a threat? Is it something that can hurt us in some way? Or is it a reward, something that could be useful for us? That creates certain emotions, either less useful emotions or more useful emotions. And those emotions are passed from the emotional brain into the thinking brain. So now consciously, we are able to think about what to do about what's happened. Except that thinking is impacted by our emotions. So whether it brings negative emotions or positive emotions is going to affect the decisions we are able to make and how we are going to implement those, how we will behave. So let's explore that in a little bit more detail with a couple of examples. So let's say you talk with a family member by phone, something that happens, an event, and they are actually really making the most of the current situation. They see benefits for themselves, they see opportunities, they're enjoying spending the time they have doing things that normally they don't have time for, and they're feeling good about it. So as you talk, the emotional brain, your emotional brain, is searching for, is this safe or not? And it says, yeah, this is good, this could be useful. And positive emotions follow. You start to feel happy, more relaxed, comfortable. You see the situation to be more helpful, more meaningful. So positive emotions are what you experience. And those positive emotions are then passed to the thinking brain. So what that does chemically in the brain is it opens up our thinking process. So it expands our thinking. We have more options, more opportunities, more choices. We see benefits and opportunities. So here, consciously, we might be thinking, oh, really interesting what they were doing, exploring new recipes and cooking, or doing extra gardening, or talking more with friends. I could do that. This would be good for me too. So maybe we make some different decisions, and that leads us to behave in a more positive, constructive way. All sounds good. Okay, let's take a second example. What if the event that happens is something on the news that tells more about the number of cases that are now in hospital, or the number of deaths that have occurred, or how it's expanding rapidly through our country? Our emotional brain interprets that and thinks, no, this is not good. This is a potential threat. Yeah? So now we experience negative emotions. We might feel concerned or worried or stressed or frustrated or anxious or depressed or many other possible negative emotions. And those negative emotions are being passed directly into the thinking brain. So again, chemically in the brain, a change is taking place, but in this example, it's restricting our thinking process. So we remain more stuck, more focused on what we've heard. Somehow we can't get it out of our head. We can't get past that information. We've accepted it as a kind of worst case, which means it could get worse. It could be happening at other places too. And all of that is what is being used to help us decide what to do. Our options are now much, much more limited. We may not even feel there's anything we can do, so we feel even worse, and the way we behave equally is not as productive as it could be. Now, once we understand that that's what's happening, the question is, what can we do about it? So first of all, there's a couple of things to know. So this event that we've described with two examples, one, talking to a friend who feels good and is enjoying the situation, and two, hearing a piece of news that actually is quite concerning about what's really going on. Now that event is outside of us. It's something happening in our environment or around us. Our response to that event, starting with the emotional brain, is completely inside of us, which means that this whole process is not dependent on the event itself. It's separate from the event. And we therefore do have ways of managing this to be able to follow this process more so than this process. And what does that mean? How can we do that? If we understand this process, we understand what's happening, then there's one word that's really critical, which is awareness. We now have increased awareness of what is happening internally to us, recognizing that this is my perception of it. It's what's happening to me internally, yeah? Based on how my emotional brain has processed it and what that is allowing my thinking brain to do. But awareness means that immediately we can think, okay, I've listened to that piece of news and really I'm not feeling great. I feel quite stressed and worried and aha, this means my emotional brain has tagged this as a threat. And this is a totally natural human response. Actually, it's a response that has kept the human race alive over the hundreds and thousands of years that we've been in existence. Without that, we would never be actually here today. So this is a normal response. Now, what does it mean that I'm aware of that? Well, first of all, I've created some distance from that event. Maybe I'm no longer accepting it as a truth. Maybe my thinking brain can already start to push back and create more options, more choices. So awareness is taking place first here as we recognize the emotions for what they are, just emotions. And then in our thinking brain, we're opening up a few more choices to think, no, wait a minute, I'm thinking like this when I should be thinking like this. How can I do that? Let's intentionally think about what I could do differently. So with conscious intention, we're moving ourselves into this direction to create more choices in order to make better decisions and to behave in a way that's more productive both for me and for others. Now, in the tools that we already shared from the first two Thrive Not Just Survive sessions, so the circle of concern as well as the emotional change curve, both of those two tools are already giving you examples of how to manage your emotions better, how to process your concerns, your worries in a more expansive way, and how to manage yourself emotionally to get yourself quicker to that acceptance and commitment stage. So from today's session, I encourage you, if you didn't already watch those two sessions, only 15 minutes, then look back and look at those again. And for today, you can use awareness as a key way to help you to start to manage your emotions better. And in the sessions that follow, I'm going to share other tools that are going to help you to make this shift and get yourself more on this side, making better decisions and managing your emotions and therefore your behaviour even better. So as always, thank you so much for being part of this session today, and do share with others who would also benefit. You can find more information from Fast Forward International on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.